Here to talk about exactly what house hacking is and how it works is money and business expert Derek Kinney. Always great to have you, Derek. And this is something that I think is speaking to a lot of young people these days who are trying to get into a home, but it is a real struggle. So first of all, for people who haven't even heard of this, explain what house hacking is.
Yeah, Jason, great to see you. And again, this is a topic we often hear about, but when it's made to sound so easy, there's a lot of mistakes people can make. And what house hacking is if you have a house and it's a rather big house and it has more than one bedroom, you then rent out other bedrooms inside of your house while you're living there to increase the cash flow, which makes it easier and quicker to pay the house off. And that comes with problems as well, but that's the bottom line of how house hacking works.
Okay, helps you pay that mortgage though, because you've got several tenants who are in the house with you. Why is this becoming so popular? Is this all just being driven by the prices of homes right now and people trying to make ends meet?
Yeah, that's a big start. Keep in mind, we've got housing prices that are skyrocketing. A recent survey, Jason, said you have to have a six-figure income to even afford a house right now, given how high interest rates are. So that's a big factor. But also keep in mind, people are watching Instagram, they're looking at YouTube, TikTok, and house hacking appears to be the new hot thing. It's the easy way to make money. The bottom line is you want to make sure that you know the people you're renting to and do they have the money to keep paying you month in and month out when times get tough. You don't want to get stuck holding the bag of a huge mortgage payment you thought other people were going to help you pay.
Yeah, and I guess that leads perfectly to my next question, which is what are the potential problems with house hacking? And I guess that could be one of them. Maybe you want to make sure that you can afford this mortgage, even if somebody stiffs you on the tenant side there.
That's exactly right. And one thing we think about is when you think about your home, it's sort of your palace, it's a place of solace, it's the place you can walk into and be yourself, and it's quiet. When you have other people house hacking, now they're part of your built-in community there. And so privacy does come at a premium. So if you're willing to give up the privacy and you want cash flow, that can be an idea. But keep in mind, you want to ask yourself one very specific question, Jason, is, do I like this person? Do I want to be around them all the time in my business, in my kitchen, in my living room when I walk home after a hard day's work? And if not, house hacking may not be the best path for you to make the money you want.
Yeah, and I guess too, beware, even if you do really like them and they like you, hopefully it continues that way all the way through this new relationship with it, which is a business relationship now. So don't be late on your rent to me, or I might not like you as much as I did, when we started this. If somebody wants to get into this, what's the first step that you would recommend that they take, Derek?
Well, first of all, you want to find a good property that you want to keep, even if you can't house hack it. In other words, if everything goes down and it doesn't work out like you wanted it to, you don't want to be in a bad financial pickle. So buy a house in a great neighborhood, a house that whether you hack it or not, you're going to want to stay there or hold it for the long term, and maybe it's an investment type of property. So you want to make sure that it's something that you would want to live in yourself, which typically then attracts the type of people you want to hang out with, and it makes it a more palatable living situation. The worst situation is you get somebody in there just to make the house payment, you don't like them, they begin to miss the house payments, and now you're in a world of hurt, and it really hurts you financially. We don't want that for you.
Derek, it seems like this, if it works out right, if you actually like the people you're around, this could really be sort of a win-win all the way around. We hear about loneliness being a real thing. This kind of checks that box because you've got roommates, you're sharing, living quarters, the living room, kitchen, et cetera. Also, the person who owns the home is getting help paying for the home, paying for the mortgage. I would imagine in some cases that the people who are renting rooms in the home are getting a much cheaper deal than they might if they were renting, let's say, an apartment, and with what's left over there, maybe they can start saving for their own home someday.
Yeah, I like that. It comes down to two words: set expectations. If you set expectations early on, here's how we're going to work together, here's how we're going to live together, here's who cleans up the kitchen, here's how we handle purchases of salt and pepper and items around the house, all the simple things. If you talk about that early on, it tends to mitigate and minimize a whole lot of arguments and sour feelings later on.
All right, this has gotten me thinking here, Derek. I'm eyeing that home office that you're in right now, and if you give me a really good deal on rent, you know, we could do this house hacking thing. I'm a good tenant.
We can work out a deal off the air. Let's talk.
I get to keep the art in my room, though. I love that art. Derek Kinney, CEO of Good Money Framework. Thanks, as always, for being with us today. Very interesting stuff.
My pleasure. Thank you, Jason.